What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I'm here to talk about something that's been bugging me for a while. I'm gonna take my headset off for this one, dude. This has been bugging me for a while, man. Now, last year, the UFC did a Matchmaker sweepstake contest where you got to make your own card, submit it, and the best one was hired by the UFC as a matchmaker because he made the fight of Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Kelleher. I mean, stop the presses, dude. Cody Garbrandt, Brian Kelleher. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was such a competitive matchup. Oh my God. That probably sold so many pay-per-views. But listen, dude, I'm not salty. Okay, I'm not salty. I'm like Joe Pyfer, dude. I'm not salty. All right. Today, I'm here to stop complaining because I felt like it should have been me. Like I'm Dolph Ziggler. Trust. I'm going to prove it. So Dana White, listen to me right now, bro. This is my application, my formal application for the job of UFC matchmaker. Because I truly believe when I say this in my videos that I'm the best matchmaker on YouTube. That shit is not a gimmick, bro. That shit is true. So today I'm going to be building a card that nobody wants to see and making it good. Right now, the most hated fight made by the UFC, or in talks from the UFC, is Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic at Madison Square Garden. I don't like this fight. I think it makes no sense. Today, I'm going to be building a card that would redeem this main event and get the fans excited for it. That's the challenge I'm going to take on today. We're going to be building an MSG pay-per-view. All right, man? First fight I want to see on the prelims. I'm going to give you 2 prelims for free. All right? First one I want to see on the prelims, Cody Garbrandt versus Peyton Talbot. This is a better matchup than Cody versus Kelleher. Peyton Talbot has a lot of question marks next to his name, but he has a lot of hype as the next Sean O'Malley. Cody Garbrandt wants to go on a title run. He wants to fight Sean O'Malley. I think this is a badass matchup. I think there's a potential here for a highlight reel KO either way in this matchup. I think Cody Garbrandt gets a lot of hate for his chin, even though he hasn't been chinned for a couple of years now. And he looked good in the striking against Figueiredo. Peyton Talbot looked like a fucking, savant, like ranked contender level fighter against Cameron Simon. So I want to see Cody Garbrandt versus Simon, what's this guy's name? Peyton Talbot, dude. I think Simon could have won if he had Drickus in his corner. Cameron, you need to be closing your eyes. Cameron, you need to throw a spinning back fist, Cameron. Cameron, you need to be shooting from further away so he knows you want to take him down. He'd be scared, right? But that's besides the point. First prelim to see an MSG on the main prelims. Let's do Cody Garbrandt versus Peyton Talbot. Now, headlining the prelims, there's a lot of options here, right? I looked through the UFC rankings and I wanted to get a matchup that would hype up the crowd, be a banger fight on the headliner of ESPN leading into the pay-per-view that might get more people interested in watching the card. You know, the casual fan can enjoy the matchup. Hardcores will enjoy the matchup. I want to see Calvin Kattar versus Edson Barboza. First of all, this fight should have been made already, multiple times by now. But you can still do this at the end of the year. I know Calvin Kattar is booked against Kyle Nelson. We don't care. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We want to see Calvin Kattar versus Edson Barboza. Either Calvin Kattar jabs in Edson Barboza's face, lands spinning elbows, flying knees, all this crazy shit, or Edson Barboza's throwing spinning wheel kicks, switch kicks. You know, he's chopping up the legs of Kattar. This is going to be a striking match. There's not many fights I could guarantee will be entertaining. I'm pretty sure this would be a banger fucking fight. And like I said, makes sense in the rankings. Both of these guys have lost a couple of their last 2 fights. They're 2 veterans of the featherweight division that all the fans enjoy watching. Even if they're in a kind of bad matchup, they're still excited to watch them fight. They have badass highlights. And I think the matchup, I think where they're at in their careers, this is a sick fight that the UFC should have put together already. And I believe this would be a banger headliner of the prelim. This would be a good headliner of a fight night. And I got this as the headliner of my prelims. All right. So in MSG prelims, I want to see Cody Garbrandt versus Peyton Talbot and Edson Barboza versus Calvin Kattar. Now let's talk about this main card. All right. Obviously, main event. We have Jon Jones and we have Stipe Miocic. How are you going to hype up the crowd starting up that main card? Let's do Anthony Hernandez, my boy Fluffy. I got to put some bedtime DNA in this. Pause. That sounded fucking crazy. No Izzy, bro. I want to see Fluffy Hernandez versus Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman's coming off a quote-unquote win. He is a UFC legend. He is very marketable. He has a big name. He has a lot of history in the company. He's one of the best wrestlers in middleweight history. Anthony Hernandez is a prospect that is on a really good run right now. And I feel like this is a good test for Weidman because he's talking about fighting in the rankings, going on another title run. I think Hernandez is a good first test for him in the rankings. And if he wins this fight, that's a huge fucking... This is like Jose Aldo versus Jonathan Martinez, in my opinion, at middleweight. Obviously not as skillful, but I think there's high potential here for either Hernandez turns Weidman into a bloodbath or Weidman out-wrestles one of the best prospects at middleweight right now coming up the rankings. And I'm interested to see the grappling exchanges. I think these two would low-key just throw down and fucking brawl as well because of their striking styles. Bro, I'm telling you, dude. This is an underrated matchup you're not going to see anyone else make. I think this would be a fucking banger to open up the card, dude. All right, so that's my first fight on the card. Like I said, I'm keeping this realistic as well. I could really easily put together super fights up and down the card, but I'm going to keep this realistic. Second fight on the card. Maybe you're not have, oh, Chris Weidman, Anthony Hernandez. No, dude, I don't want to see that. All right. Get ready for this, dude. We're going to do Logic versus Tyler, the Creator. I mean, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. That's a fucking banger, dude. Come on, man. What are you talking about, bruh? Wonderboy never fails to deliver against upcoming prospects that are supposed to knock him out. That's just the facts of the situation. I don't think Buckley's going to mix in the wrestling unless he gets tagged the fuck up in the first round. And I think Wonderboy is one of the most underrated defensive grapplers in the UFC. He made Gilbert Burns struggle. He made, you know, who else the fuck did he fight in the grappling? Damn. Somebody, I'm gonna edit that part out. That doesn't sound good. But listen, dude, Wonderboy's a good defensive grappler. You guys know this. All right, man. He made Woodley struggle. There we go. He almost guillotined Woodley. There you fucking go. See? Come on. All right. Wonderboy's a legend of the UFC. The fans love him. The casuals love him. He's got badass highlights. So does Joaquin Buckley. You could literally promote this as like a karate fucking super movie fight, dude. Like Joaquin Buckley's highlights, Karate Boy's highlights. I mean, come on, dude. What are we talking about, man? Let's do Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley as the second fight of the pay-per-view. I might need to edit that entire segment out. I'm not going to lie. I sounded like fucking Joey Diaz promoting that shit. But let's talk about the featured fight because I'm very proud of this, all right, man? Featured fight on the card. All right, hear me out. This is a fight that I'm low-key surprised the UFC didn't try to make this. Because I do think that this is the move, regardless of what happens next weekend in Saudi Arabia. I want to see Kamaru Usman versus Robert Whittaker. This is a huge matchup at middleweight. I think Usman going up to middleweight completely fucking refreshes his career. I really think he would be a huge fight against Dricus du Plessis. I think that'd be a big matchup. I think you could do him versus Strickland if he wins this. And I think Whittaker's probably his best entry into the top 5, aside from Marvin Vettori, who's probably not going to be top 5 by the time this video comes out because of Imavov beating Cannonier, which was bullshit, by the way, right? So Whittaker's going to be top 5. If he beats Chimaev, I really find it hard to justify giving him a title shot against Dricus. I think you can make the argument, listen, bro, if you can beat Kamaru Usman, that's a refreshed kind of name that you haven't fought yet, then you can get a title shot, right? Even if Izzy beats Dricus, I don't think anybody really wants to see Izzy versus Whittaker 3. You can kind of justify it if he somehow beats Usman, right? And I think for Usman, this is a really good way to get a new title shot, bro. Because he looked good against Hamzat. He looked good against Leon. And I think if he beats Robert Whittaker, especially if he manages to KO him or something like that, you can really make an argument for giving this dude a title shot at middleweight. If you get in a bit of a pinch at middleweight, you know, and Strickland fucking Duplessis can't get made, you can easily put together Usman Duplessis, Usman versus Strickland. Whatever the title picture ends up being, I think Usman being in it makes the division a lot more exciting. And I think a lot of fans will be fucking hyped for this matchup, dude. So, featured fight of the card, let's do Robert Whittaker versus Marty Fake Newsman. All right, don't back up, Robert Whittaker. Don't back up. I'm coming all night long. Imagine the press conference for this shit too, dude. Come on now. Now let's talk about the co-main, bro. Because if we've got Jones versus Miocic, nobody gives a fuck about that fight. I'm sorry to tell you this, Dana. All right. Featured fight, Usman Whittaker. Fans are going to be hyped for that one. Wonderboy Thompson versus fucking Joaquin Buckley. I think a lot of fans are going to be hyped for that one too. Especially with the highlighting and the promotions. I think this is going to be one that Joe Rogan's going to be going crazy on the wall. People forget, man. Wonderboy knocked out Robert Whittaker. Wonderboy's one of the most electric strikers in the UFC. I think that would be a fight that would end up being really hype. And I think it's a fun matchup too. You know, Hernandez Weidman. I think that's going to be like fight of the night, low-key, in my opinion. You need a solid co-main event to put the cherry on top of the fucking cupcake or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the saying is, dude. All right, they don't pay me to make sayings. They pay me to make good fights. All right, man. Co-main event. I think this would low-key save the pay-per-view of Jones Miocic. You have to do Ilya versus Max. You have to do Ilya versus Max, or you have to do like Pereira versus Prohaska to save the pay-per-view card with Jones Miocic. Because I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but nobody actually wants to see Jones versus Miocic. I think we'll watch the fight and be entertained by it, but I don't think anyone is going to buy a pay-per-view going, I really wonder what's going to happen in Jones versus Miocic. I really want to know who's going to be the guy that retires with the heavyweight belt so we can see Aspinall fight for it. You know what I'm saying? Versus Max versus Ilya. First of all, there's going to be beef at the press conference. We're going to have something entertaining going on. People want to see this fight really badly. If it's BMF versus featherweight champion, it's going to be even bigger. You know that's the people's main event. You know that this is going to sell a lot of pay-per-views, a lot of tickets. And I really think that would be the icing on the cake of this card. Tell me you wouldn't be kind of like, all right, I'm kind of hyped for Jones versus Miocic. If they said co-main event's going to be Max versus Ilya, featured fight's going to be Usman versus Whitaker. You're going to have Wonderboy versus Buckley. You're going to get Peyton Talbot versus Cody Garbrandt. You're going to get Hernandez versus Weidman. And you're going to get Calvin Kattar versus Edson Barboza. That is a pay-per-view. That's fights you can make easily in November as well. These are not out of the realm of possibility. You could make all of these fights right now. So listen up, Dana. Listen up, UFC. Hire me as the matchmaker. I will redeem everything, bro. Like I'm Anshul Jubilee, bro. I will redeem, dude. But yeah, this is my pitch to be the UFC matchmaker. This is my pitch for Miocic versus Jones. Let me know down below, guys. What do you think of this card? Rated out of 10. How hyped would you be if this got announced by Dana White on Instagram in front of that yellow background? And bro, get the word out, man. I'm trying to graduate from best matchmaker on YouTube to best matchmaker in the UFC, bro. I'm trying to be clogging up the UFC HQ bathrooms, dog. I'm trying to be in there going, hey, Nina, how you going? Yeah, just getting the paperwork done for today. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to sell out, dude. Dana, get me in the matchmaker's room, all right, man? If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. And yeah, bro, 1 like equals 1 oil up for Dana, boys. Comment some video ideas that you want me to steal down below in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, man. Goodbye.